Good morning, Mesa Nation. I'm Miss Wang, one of the Mandarin teachers here at Mesa, as well as one of your hosts for today's episode. I'm also joined by our other host, Mr. Nguyen.
Thank you, Ms. Wang. So I'm Mr. Nguyen. A little bit about myself. I teach middle school 8th grade science as well as a STEM class. I also am an advisor for the Mesa High School Club and also the Asian Culture Club advisor. I'm really excited to be here today to talk to you about an upcoming event called Lunar New Year, also known as Chinese New Year. And I'm also joined today by a few of our students, ACC President Catherine Pham, and two of our AP Mandarin students, Landon Stein, welcome Landon, and also Raymond Tran. Back to you, Ms. Wang.
Thanks for joining us today, everyone. Before we begin, I would like to explain what Lunar New Year is. Lunar New Year marks the first new moon of the year. It is actually celebrated in several Asian countries, for example, China, Vietnam, Singapore, and South Korea. Okay, so when I grew up, right, my family have some traditions to celebrate Lunar New Year. For example, we would hang up like red lanterns around the house because red supposedly scares away bad spirits and brings good luck. And adults would prepare red envelopes with money in there. And that was, as a child, that was always my favorite thing, you know, to receive those red envelopes. And also, there's always a lot of good food and treats, right? Okay, for guests and for ourselves to enjoy. Speaking of traditions, what are some of the traditions that you heard of? And if you do celebrate, what do you and your family do to prepare? Let's start with Raymond.
So my family and I, we clean up the house before Chinese New Year's, and we set up like a fruit platter with oranges, pineapples, and tangerines, and we kind of hang up like red envelopes around the house with like some words and sayings to like have good luck around the house. And we also have yellow chrysanthemums in the house.
How about you, Landon?
As opposed to Raymond's cleaning and hanging stuff up, my family, we generally cook a lot of food. More food than we know what to do with. I think a lot of my aunts and uncles and my family come home with like 10 different boxes of food. But generally, we cook a lot of food and we wish each other luck in the new year, and definitely red envelopes with the money.
And Catherine?
So for our like traditions, usually like Landon and Raymond, we both decorate and we have a ton of food. Like we can't even fit it all on our giant table. But after eating, we do this thing called lisi, which is it's just the red envelopes, but instead of just like holding your hands out and taking it, we say chúc mừng năm mới, which means like I wish you like luck in this new year. And then after that, here's where it gets interesting. We gamble, and it's really fun because you can either end up with half of your lisi or twice as much of your lisi. And usually people who lose like a lot of money, they say, oh, that means I'm lucky in love this year. But I honestly think it's just something that they say to make themselves feel better about losing money.
Talking about food for New Year's, I remember we would make dumplings like for New Year's Eve dinner. And there's a tradition where my family they would put one coin in one of the dumplings. So whoever gets that dumpling supposedly will have the best of luck in the new year.
Yeah, and going back to something that Raymond said about having different types of fruit. So in Vietnamese culture, we actually put up different fruits and each fruit kind of has a different saying. So if you wanted to kind of wish for wealth, you would have a certain fruit that would represent wealth. And so the sayings in Vietnamese are actually really interesting because the name of the fruit actually kind of sounds like what you're wishing for. So that's why different types of families different families, they kind of put up different types of fruit depending on what they want for that year. So that's pretty interesting. Thanks for bringing that up, Raymond.
And also, besides dumplings, and another dish that we normally have to eat for Lunar New Year or for New Year's Eve dinner is fish, because as some of you might know, Chinese people are pretty superstitious. So the word fish sounds the same as the word abundance in Mandarin. So by having fish, we're hoping that in the new year, we would have an abundance of good luck or good fortune.
Wow, that's really cool. We usually have seafood, but I don't think it has the same meaning behind it as your fish does.
Yeah, so for the Vietnamese culture, at least, we do have some foods that represent special meaning in the new year, and one is called bánh trưng, and it's sort of like a square, rectangular, sticky rice with meat inside of it, and so we typically eat that. It's really filling, so a part of our food dishes, we usually have that at the end of our course for some reason, even though it's a really heavy dish. Speaking of food, what are some of your other favorite dishes that you guys like to eat during Lunar New Year? Feel free to chime in.
I'm gonna just start. We usually have some type of shellfish. I don't know if that's traditional or if there's like really any meaning behind that, but every single year my grandma buys a giant tray of either lobsters or just buys everyone a crab, and we'll just sit there and eat and probably not talk because our mouths are full of shellfish, but yeah.
Raymond and Landon, any dishes that you guys want to talk about, since you guys said you have a lot of food during the new year?
I would also eat something similar to bánh trưng. It would be bánh tét, so it's like more of like a round shape. And after the day after Chinese New Year's, we would actually just like fry it in the pan to eat it. So like I really like to eat that.
One of my favorites is, again, similar to this, is bánh cuốn. It's meat-filled rice paper, I think, is my description of it. I don't know the meaning behind it, but I do love putting soy sauce all over it because I like the saltiness of it. But the meat inside is also very good.
Okay, thanks everyone. As a Mandarin teacher around this time, I like to showcase the Chinese culture. Each year, there's a new specific Chinese zodiac sign encompassing the year. This year is the year of the ox. Landon, Raymond, Catherine, and Mr. Nguyen, do you know what oxes are known for?
I'll stab at it, unless Catherine, you want to jump in first.
You can go first.
So the ox, to me, it just represents something that is, or someone who is really strong, kind of reliable, and because we often see oxes in the farmland, and so they're known as really reliable animals. So I think that that's part of the character traits if you're born in the year of the ox.
And just to add to that, like people who are born into the year of the ox, they're known as like kind of resilient, and they don't really work for praise. They're just hard workers, and they really just gain recognition through their hard work.
Yes, in China, we think oxes are very hardworking. So in this new year, year of ox, if we keep working hard, we will have a great year. What is your Chinese zodiac sign? Does anyone know? Raymond, do you know your zodiac sign?
I'm a goat.
Oh, how do you think that applies to you?
I'm not sure, but I think goats, they're kind of like more like delicate to what they think, and like they have like a strong like creativity, and they're kind of like tough on the inside kind of, so like they're really like opinionated.
Or very friendly. Landon, how about you?
I am a sheep or a goat, or
Okay.
it kind of depends on where you're from, but yeah, I'm a sheep. I never really looked into the meaning of it actually, but I just know that I am a sheep.
Catherine?
We're all born in the same year, so I am also a goat. I'm really not sure about how I have similarities with a goat, but I looked it up and it says that they're loving, they've got integrity, and they also really like nature and other animals.
Mr. Nguyen?
Sure, I'll chime in on that one. So my animal or my zodiac is the horse, which are really positive and enthusiastic animals. And they also represent a symbol of independence and freedom. And I totally think that that's me. At 18, I left for college and just pretty much said goodbye to my family, my parents. And I tried coming back and kind of like living with them after college, but just wasn't for me. And I decided to move out. So independence is something that it really kind of relates to me in terms of the year of the horse. So yeah, that's what I am.
And as for me, I will skip this question because that would give away my age. So anyways.
Mr.
I guess we'll talk about Asian Culture Club for a little bit. So Catherine, since you're president of Asian Culture Club this year, what do you envision the club for this year, and kind of maybe talk about some of the events that we had too?
Okay, so I've been in Asian Culture Club for about 3 years, and in the past years, we haven't done a lot for Chinese New Year, which is why I've been like trying to plan things for this year. And we're just meant to, celebrate our culture and share it with the school. So I thought that decorating the quad with, red lanterns and then handing out little red envelopes, probably not with money in them, but like, a Happy New Year from Asian Culture Club type of situation. And if we had the funds, maybe we could have rented, a lion costume because, they run around with those during New Year. But unfortunately, due to COVID, all of those plans are kind of ruined. So what we were planning to do instead is kind of do a drop-off with for the Asian Culture Club members, which has like red envelopes, Asian candies, and maybe a nice little note. As for later on this year, my plans are probably to learn about more cultures because like there's Vietnamese, there's Japanese, Filipino people in our club, and I don't really know that much about those cultures. And I think the easiest way would be to bond through food, because we've already done a ramen cooking competition, and I hope there are more to come.
Great, thanks for that summary, Catherine. I guess we're on to the next segment, which is our MANIAC segment. I'm just going to be asking you kind of like a quick action question, and then you're going to give me an answer. So for example, we'll do things such as food, and then I'll just say 2 items, and then you'll just kind of give me a quick response. So the first one is going to be wontons or dumplings.
Definitely gonna go with wontons.
Dumplings.
All right, fried rice or chow mein?
Chow mein.
Fried rice.
And it's easier to eat with chopsticks.
That's going to be chow mein for me. How about yan yan or pocky sticks?
Pocky.
Pocky.
All the way.
Yeah, pocky.
Yeah.
Fried rice or fried tofu or fried chicken? Or fried shrimp, sorry.
Tofu.
Fried tofu.
Fried shrimp.
Awesome. Dim sum or Korean barbecue? That's a tough one.
Korean barbecue.
Dim sum.
Dim sum.
Depends on the day for me. How about sushi or ramen?
That is a very tough
Sushi.
one.
Ramen.
One.
Ramen.
That one for me depends on the weather. So, all right, next one. Spring rolls or egg rolls?
Spring rolls.
Spring rolls.
Egg rolls.
I got to go with egg rolls on that one.
Spring rolls, I think.
All right, Thai tea or milk tea?
Milk tea.
Milk
Thai
tea.
tea.
Thai tea.
All right, strawberry or chocolate panda snack?
Strawberry.
Strawberry.
Chocolate.
And then haichu or the coffee candy?
I don't like
Thai
either of those.
Coffee candy.
All right, and lastly, the Yakult or the mochi?
Mochi.
Mochi.
There's
Mochi,
more
yes.
than Yakult.
All right, thanks everyone for playing the MANIAC segment. We'll close with Ms. Wang.
Thank you, Mesa, for listening. Thank you to Catherine, Landon, and Raymond for joining us for today's episode. We hope you tune in for the next episode that is themed around Mindful March. And as always, reach out to ASB if you have any ideas for what we should feature.